June 20, Muscovites are drowning. Moscow is underwater. Cars have sunk into the water. A hurricane tsunami has flooded Muscovites. A mega downpour on June 20 flooded Moscow.
Dasha, is it okay for you if they don't clean it?
This is what an underground parking lot looks like in the north of Mordor's capital.
Yeah, that's definitely what you would call blind, without a doubt. I mean, it's just completely blind, you know?
And this is how the metro got flooded.
A building collapsed. Listen, this is probably the best story I've ever had.
The Moscow downpours flooded apartments. Buses turned into mobile swimming pools. Cars became boats. Couriers on mopeds had a rough time. The streets turned into rivers. And Muscovites went swimming. Boom! Bat boo! We hope you didn't drown, friends. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and leave a few kind words in the happy comments. Support Ukraine. Also, let us know where you're watching from. Like, comment, subscribe, and let's get started.
A heavy downpour hit Moscow. The rain will be more intense during the evening rush hour. Local flooding and squally winds are possible. A heavy downpour in central Moscow began at around 12:30 p.m. Clouds are also gathering and thunder is rumbling in the north and east of Moscow, and rain is also being observed in the northeast of the Moscow region. Due to the downpour, trains were partially stopped on 2 metro lines. There is no service on sections of the Kalushko-Rishskaya and Filevskaya lines.
Moscow is flooded again. Because of the heavy rain, cars are going underwater, and the city sidewalks look like lakes. Traffic on Borovsko highway is paralyzed. A courtyard in the Dmitrovsky district is completely flooded. In the city center, Muscovites have to wade knee-deep in water or even climb over fences to get across the flooded streets. They, especially resourceful, have switched to boats. Because of the heavy rain, even visitors to shopping malls ended up getting soaked. For example, videos of severe flooding at the Vegas shopping mall are being posted online. A similar situation has occurred in 2 other shopping malls in Moscow. To get out of the water, one of the mall visitors even had to come up with his own original method. According to meteorologists, some districts of Moscow received more than half the monthly average rainfall. Forecasts predict that similar weather will persist in the capital for another couple of days.
On June 20, Moscow city was wiped off the face of the earth. A tornado struck Moscow. Lightning hit the Ostankino Tower. It's on fire.
Burn brightly so that it doesn't go out.
There was flooding at Vnukovo Airport.
According to eyewitnesses, the terminal is being flooded, especially around gates 15 and 16. Several flights have been delayed, including those to St. Petersburg, Yerevan, Pskov, and Nalchik.
Muscovites are in a panic. Windows are being destroyed, roofs and skyscrapers are collapsing. The roads are flooded. There's heavy rain and a hurricane. The tennis festival in Luzhniki that fell on Moscow was transformed into a water park. I want to tell you that I know you love me. Thank you. Friends, a yellow danger level has been declared in Moscow. Downpours have flooded the city. Roofs are being torn off, windows are being smashed, but the most interesting thing is that Muscovites are swimming home. Heavy rains and thunderstorms have started in Moscow. In some districts, there is no electricity and peals of thunder can be heard. Boom! Bada boom!
According to Telegram channels, during these hours, the emergency services are receiving quite a lot of calls. So the woman came forward shortly after her. A fence fell on her, but a boy needed help after a branch fell on him. According to the investigative committee, 1 person has reportedly died. It was a man in the north of Moscow. He was crushed by a tree.
Friends, please like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Dasha is Happy, and write a few kind words in support of Ukraine in the comments, as well as where you're watching from. Your favorite topic, Moscow cat, which got flooded.
Some people out at the sea, and here we are, and over there people are literally swimming them.
Moscow and the Moscow region were hit by a downpour with hail. Heavy rain, winds, hail. There are thousands of us, like queens. Today, bad weather is expected not only in Moscow. City services are warning that the capital will experience rain with thunderstorms and strong winds up to 15 meters per second. In the afternoon, thunderstorms will hit Moscow. I'm running like this here on the side. Hail has hit the Moscow region, and this is what's happening in Korolev. This is all hail. Hail. This is pure, vigorous hail. I honestly don't even know how this tree ended up here. This tree right here. Where did it come from? It's right in the middle of the road. This is unreal. I had just stepped out of the building, and right then a tree fell onto a car. Look at this. Apple peaks here. A once-in-a-century thunderstorm hit Moscow, and lightning struck the Ostankino TV tower. According to meteorologists, in the coming hours and until the end of the day, the capital of Mordor is expected to experience heavy rain, downpours, thunderstorms, hail, and hurricane-force winds. So there is a high probability of tornadoes forming. Unbelievable. What's going on? This is just crazy. What is happening here? And the shells, the blueprints.
Good job, Philip. That was really well done, you know? I mean, you did great. Don't take off your backpack. I don't think there will be such a strong gust. I'm already subscribed to Mouse, and even if I'm wearing a raincoat, it really doesn't overflow either. Not even a little bit. Absolutely not. You just warned us about the rain. Seriously. To be continued.
Most Vodostok crews are eliminating the consequences of the bad weather. They are opening storm drain grates, letting water into the drainage system, and using powerful pumping stations. It is already known that this June has become the rainiest in the entire history of meteorological observation. It should be noted that the flooding will continue until the end of the day, until 0 p.m. because of this. The mayor of Moscow, Sergei Sobyanin, and a specialist from the complex
According to specialists from the Frubo Center, there is just a little longer to endure. Everything will subside closer to midnight. But in the meantime, eyewitnesses are sharing footage with us. Let's take a look at a few clips.
Kevin?
What it cares. Just like that. Look at how strong the wind was. It tore down all the trees. Just look at this.
Yeah, actually, there were some crazy videos on the internet. The hurricane force wind literally swept away everything in its path. Right now, you can actually see those videos on your screen. It rips roofs of houses, bends billboards, knocks down fences and trash bins.
Holy crap! Wow, can you imagine?
The pit fire. Oh. What a disaster on 19th Avenue. Oh, I hope no one drowned there. Oh, and there's even some daredevil trying to swim across. Horrible. There's water there too. It's clearly not there. There are little foam patches here. Nightmare. People are making a new path across the lawn.
Where can I get a drink?
What's going on? Well?
Looks like our building is in danger. This is really scary now. Look at what happened. Part of the subway collapsed and the entrance to the basement broke. And now all the water that's here in Moscow is pouring in there in a huge stream. So, can anyone tell me what to do? Our building is old, it might not hold up at all.
How is that possible? It's a flood. Yeah, it's a flood. Uh-oh.
Oh, damn. Listen, this is probably the best story I've ever had. Well, that's fucking awesome. What else can I say?
No, they haven't put it out yet. I see they're getting water from here. Well, passers-by are great. They're helping out. Someone's already throwing things out the windows, carrying stuff out. The passers-by are doing a great job. But honestly, it's scary. What if the roof collapses?
They're pouring it all in down below right now. Listen, it's about to pour. Holy shit. That's a kind of pretty disaster.
voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine Today. Join us now.
And to wrap up, as usual, let's take a look at a breakdown of top-notch Russian propaganda.
Look at what's happening on Mira Avenue, not far from their main mosque. On the days when they celebrate Kurban Bayram, there's no traffic on this 12-lane highway. 12 lanes, 6 in one direction and 6 in the other. And so people are filming from their balconies, from the Prospect Mira metro station, and all the way down Yaroslavskoye highway, you can see the end. The entire area is covered with people. And these are people-strong men, men who don't drink. All of them practice wrestling, go to the gym to train. It's a whole army. And if one day the mullah orders them to slaughter Muscovites, believe me, they'll do it quickly. Because the Ministry of Internal Affairs won't even have time to make a sound or respond. And the result will be very tragic. Why are they so strong? I'll say it again, because they are bound together by a single bond, and that's faith.
Some idiot who put on a cassock. Honestly, I can't call him anything but an idiot.
He's a representative of the army of the Antichrist. There's no other way to put it. He's telling 2 billion Muslims that our faith is wrong. I have a question. Who are you to say things like that? There are 30 million native Muslims living in Russia. And what exactly do you want to tell us? What is our faith, right or wrong? While we're doing everything we possibly can to unite Muslims and Christians, here comes yet another foolish individual, once again, making these kinds of provocative, inflammatory statements. But I also have a question. Does it really have to come to someone breaking the law and doing something drastic just so idiots like that would stop saying such things? And if anyone raises the head of nationalism, that head must be cut off. It simply needs to be cut off, that head.
And why is it that the situation with the Crimean Bridge doesn't really stir any strong emotions in you? But when it comes to the Kyiv Dam, you get so worked up every time. But if Ukraine targets the Crimean Bridge, what's stopping us from destroying the Kyiv Dam?
I honestly don't understand. Personally, I don't post any of that stuff. And it's not that I'm happy about it. I understand that it's boo.
But I'm reasoning logically.
Vladimir Rudolfovich, you're not being logical. You're not reasoning logically.
Why?
Because I read what the experts say. Yes, it was sabotage, but it didn't actually cause any harm to the Crimean Bridge. But if, and you're talking about the Kyiv Dam, there, tens of thousands of people would have died at the very least. That was sabotage. But this is a terrorist attack. These are different things.
Vasily Ilyich, excuse me, I want to remind you that the previous act of sabotage on the Crimean Bridge resulted in people being killed. Moreover, it was only by a stroke of luck that the train passing nearby didn't derail, because that was exactly the plan. So, Vasily Ilyich, at the end of the interview, I will ask you this question again.
I'm not arguing with you, because otherwise it will look like I'm covering for some people. No.
And why would a strike on the dam necessarily lead to people dying?
Are you serious? If the Kyiv Dam were blown up...
Yes, then what?
Come on. No, wait. There.
No, wait.
Listen, the water would flood half of Kyiv region and Cherkasy region. People would die, civilians would die, and in large numbers...
Hold on. When the Ukro-Nazis blew up the Kakhovka hydroelectric dam, I don't remember anyone being particularly upset. One day I was there, I saw all of it with my own eyes.
And people died.
So what? Did the international community even flinch? Excuse me, how many strikes hit there? They deliberately pounded it with HIMARS? And just think how much money was spent through those HIMARS to bring down that dam. And so what?
I'm all for punishing them perfectly, but I'm against calling for revenge. Like, let's hit Oleshki now, or blow up the Kyiv Dam, or destroy all of Kyiv. Come on, Vladimir Ilyich.
So are you suggesting that during the Great Patriotic War, we shouldn't have bombed Berlin?
No, well, wait.
Russia, as always, underestimates its opponents. They significantly underestimated Mr. Zelensky and his team. He was called all sorts of names. Let's recall comedian, drug addict, expired, and so on and so forth. Apparently, the people who used such words and epithets about him were just trying to assert themselves. Cheap drones where artificial intelligence was used, where there was delivery. This is a successful special operation. Do you understand? In the language of special services, this is a bold, successful operation that resulted in minimal costs, but cost billions of dollars in damage. What can I say? Bold, effective. Here you see the head of Ukraine's security service. How did something like this become possible? How they spent 1.5 years preparing, calculated everything precisely, prepared everything thoroughly. After all, this is a success. This is a success for the SBU, no matter what anyone tells me. And here I don't want to label anyone or pass judgment, but it turns out that the entire Russian state apparatus was prepared for anything except this special operation. Isn't that right? So they didn't even consider it in their models.
How can I answer that?
Because it turns out that we're all left hanging, quite literally. We don't know where these trucks might be, whether such trucks exist, whether there are similar caches. And in this way, what they've demonstrated today could be used to destabilize things, even without sending drones from Ukrainian territory. For example, the operation of key aviation hubs across Russia, we can see that they've reached as far as the Amur region. So it turns out that any rear areas, any industries, any directions can be destabilized. And this reminds me of the Mossad story. Remember that special operation with the mobile phones? This is even bolder. Here, there's artificial intelligence involved, as well as delivery, storage, and in fact, the strike itself. This is a weakness, not a strength. It turns out that the opponent has a different model. Everyone used to laugh at him, right? They said, oh, he's this and that. But he created a system, whether it was him or his team. If it was his team, then it's to his credit that he put together such a team.
In Ukraine, whose leaders Putin has just called terrorists, they continue to shed tears over the nuclear arsenal that was handed over to Moscow after the collapse of the Soviet Union. They suggest making dirty bombs from the fuel that remains at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. Supposedly, it would only take a few weeks to do this, and then, without warning, drop the bombs on Russia. These people are sick.
Hello, you are watching Channel 1 Live. This is a program Time Will Tell. I'm Artem Sheinin, so as always at this hour, we bring you the most important and relevant news. Today is June 20th, and the news of June 20th, these are the stories that outshine all others, well, if only because they are so important, interesting, and all-encompassing that, compared to them, the news from June Honest isn't even worth discussing anymore, since, well, June Honest was yesterday. That's right. So for anyone interested in the news from June Honest, I wrote a lot about it yesterday on my Telegram channel. That's that. If you're interested, go ahead and check it out, read both the news and my thoughts on the matter. But since that was yesterday, and today is June 20th, and today we're in Istanbul, we'll be discussing June 20th and Istanbul because, well, you all understand why. That's it.
You know what we need to do? When a guru or a former Bush official or someone recruited by Miyagi gets behind the wheel of a heavy truck and drives to a military airfield so that drones are launched from the vehicle he's driving, it's necessary that he perceives such a trip not as a journey to buy bagels at a Russian fair, but as a one-way road. Needs to understand that when he gets arrested, he won't be sent to a detention center where he'll get medical care, read books, rest, eat well, and then return home with medals and honors after the next prisoner exchange. No, he should be executed, or better yet, hanged. That's how it should be. And there's no need to liquidate him during the arrest. That's what I'm insisting on. It's too easy otherwise. There needs to be a trial, an investigation, but a very brief one. We can introduce a simplified form of criminal proceedings. And the death penalty by hanging, and that's right, and that's good. And this will change the rules of the game. For this, there's no need to listen to the chairman of the Constitutional Court, who tells us fairy tales about liberal values, about Europeans, about how the world will be offended, about how it's also complicated to change these laws. None of that is necessary. A presidential decree. We end the moratorium, And as part of this decree, we write, Decree of the President of the Russian Federation on urgent measures to combat banditry, terrorism, and sabotage activities. And then we introduce simplified procedures. Detention for 30 days without trial. We detain, place the person in a cell, and carry out operational measures with them. By the way, this will be very useful for migration issues. But the main thing is death penalty. Simplified criminal proceedings and hanging. That's it. And then a lot will change.
And that's why Vladimir Vladimirovich, the inspection has now taken place. The regions have started to implement something, but it's very important to maintain this attention, this coordination, this support and training. And I strongly ask for your decision to transform the all-Russian inspection, which you instructed to conduct, into an all-Russian family assistance service.
Retribution, or more precisely, just punishment for those who are behind all this, is inevitable. And as civilized people, at that moment we will negotiate with him, with them, about how they prefer to stand against the wall, blindfolded, or on their knees facing the wall, or bravely looking down the barrel. Well, those are the three options that, in the end, we will have to negotiate with them about. As humane people, as a last wish, we will give them the right to choose.
After all, strategic aviation is part of our nuclear trial. So they weren't just hitting a plane, they were hitting a carrier aircraft for a special warhead, specifically the KH-55 missile, of which 16 can be loaded onto a Tu-95 and off it goes. And a single plane like that can easily wipe out half of America. So what should be done? Now, attention, here's the question. Who is ultimately responsible for the nuclear trial? Who is it? That's right, the General Staff. The General Staff is responsible for the nuclear trial, probably. You know, the scariest thing is, I really hope this doesn't just get swept under the rug, and that someone is actually held accountable, not just some scapegoat like the airbase commander who supposedly didn't guard things well enough. This turned out to be a systemic problem. And moreover, it's not just about removing someone from their position. There needs to be criminal accountability for causing such enormous damage to our country.
Please like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Dasha Schastlivaya. We work for an audience all over the world so that people know the truth about Russian aggression, about Russia's war against Ukraine. That's why every comment and every subscription helps ensure that as many people as possible around the world see this video. Stay with us. Stay on the side of light. Friends, glory to Ukraine. Glory to the heroes. We will definitely win.